So where did you golf today?
The home course.
How'd you shoot?
This is like a philosophical question, if you will, right?
I thought you scored a 65.
Yeah, right. Well, I see what you're doing. No.
Then what was the 65?
Well, I was just trying to figure out what age it would be. No, it was the person I was playing with, and she was with her husband, was I found to be attractive.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't think at any other point in my life I would have thought someone that age would be attractive.
I mean, there's something on the internet for everybody at whatever age.
That's fair.
So
it's fair, but I don't know. Is it like
no? I think
maturity or
no. You know
not
what,
maturity.
You know what I saw?
I'm just getting old.
I saw this on. This was fed to me on my Instagram algorithm, which I don't know if that's revealing something or not, because the algorithm exposes you as a person,
right?
But it essentially was when you realize MILFs are just now age-appropriate women for you.
Oh yeah, we're past that.
It just reminds me of a conversation you and I had. And was it 2017 at the PGA Championship in Quail Hollow?
You always confuse this one.
When did we have this conversation on the golf course? Because it's a very memorable conversation.
I think it was Pinehurst in 14.
Okay.
I think it was Pinehurst in 14. I think that's what it was. The first day one.
Yeah.
It was the same day I saw the Stahl brothers, like right after they got arrested or right before they got arrested.
But either way, you and I were walking around. These guys were older than us.
Oh, yeah.
And they were with their new trophy wives. Mm-hmm. And you and I were both, you and I are in the same opinion, like, no, absolutely not. You want to have a baby? Nah, no. I retired.
Yeah, no, that's, nope.
So when's Bill going to be a dad again?
No, stop.
Dude, I'm telling you.
No.
I'm telling you.
No.
By the end of the season.
No, stop. No.
Anyway, you want to go? You want to do this?
Yes.
Let's do this.
Yes.
We'll do it live. Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies. It is just past 2:00. It is Thursday. That means it's live on YouTube. Thanks to our friends at the Butcher's Market. Check them out online at thebutchersmarkets.com. We now have dates for you to tailgate at Canes playoff games, or will we be able to tailgate, Joe?
I was worried about this when we were having this conversation.
Hey, by the way, before we get started, let me go ahead and give you credit. You broke some news at 12:56. Game 83, a.k.a. Game 1 of the playoffs between the Canes and the Devils, will be Sunday at 3:00. Lenovo, plan accordingly. I loved the responses of source. You just not tweeting this out for shits and giggles, man.
My source is no bounce. It's a very creative one today too, I might add.
Yeah, I was
impressed. My younger self would have been very impressed with this one.
When you told me how you found out, I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
You still got it.
People got to eat.
Just like the 65-year-old. Still got it. I still got it.
People got to eat, bro.
So yeah, here's the schedule. Game 1 Sunday, Easter Sunday. So I lost that bet. Wow. I did not think that they would be cool with an Easter Sunday staffing at Lenovo, but here we are.
Going back even a half a step to the conversation we had yesterday.
Yeah.
I was with you. I had resigned myself to this was going to be Monday.
So Sunday, 3:00 at Lenovo. Tuesday, 6 p.m. Not a typo. 6 p.m. Lenovo Center on a Tuesday. And then I think
the club's going up on a Tuesday.
I think Prudential's got some scheduling, which puts them on Friday
at 8 p.
At 8 p on a Friday, followed by a 3:30 on Sunday. And
that's nice.
I don't think the Canes are going to sweep. I think they're going to get this done in 6. So Tuesday, TBD, and then Friday, May 2nd, TBD, which also means no interference with the OG birthday bash.
Man, we were dancing through the raindrops on that one, huh?
Kind of where we did that last year too.
All right.
You know, hey, you got to play the game here.
We made it work.
You and I have a consistent argument about how do you get the Utes to watch sports? How do you get people to go to games? I can tell you definitively that a Tuesday 6 p.m. game is not how you get people to the building.
So that's probably not a great day for the breeze through.
No
barbecue.
No, we will not be. We will not be doing a block party on Tuesday at 6:00. I mean, I'm assuming you want people to show up, right?
I do.
Okay, then.
I do.
Just saying. So, man. So anyway, that's the playoff schedule. I lost that bet there. I will say this, though. I want to, on a serious note, because I know what this is going to look like for the Canes, and there might be some questioning about crowds and do they care about hockey in Carolina? Like this typical hand wank stuff that happens nationally when we talk about the Carolina Hurricanes. There's a couple things that are going on here. Those are two terrible times to start the playoffs for the Canes. Two terrible times.
Brutal.
Sunday, 3:30, Easter. Man, people got plans, especially around here.
Yep.
People got plans. Now, you got the hardcores. Don't get me wrong. You might see some people in their Sunday best showing up to Lenovo at 3:30. But that's 6 p.m. Tuesday.
That's a second period crowd.
No, that's a giant FU to the fans.
If the Devils are smart, they get out early on that one because by second. Bet. That's an easy bet. That's a pre-flop second period Canes.
Oh,
because they'll be down 1-0 in the first period. Then they crush them in the second.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
I like it.
Good point. So that to me, I see a Tuesday 6 p.m. as like a giant FU to fans in that regard. But I guess TV rules everything, and you got to make sure that second game gets on at a decent time.
I was going to say, what are we trying to find new fans in Newfoundland? Like, what are we doing?
I really don't know. I really don't know.
Oh, you're right, Matt. I'm not even drinking it. I'm excited for that comment.
Cream cheese ripple, real deal.
Yes.
At Two Roosters.
And you can't see it.
I know.
In the carrot cake. You can't see it. So all of a sudden you have it and you're like, what on earth was that amazing surprise?
I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it this weekend. Anyway, we'll go over some more of the stuff on in housekeeping. We're going to check in with Andrew Jones, Tar Heel Illustrated, here in a little bit. It's been a pretty newsy week for North Carolina and Bill Belichick, as Ken points out in the YouTube chat, which is working again, thank goodness. Bomani said y'all get to talk about this 5 days a week. Let's do it. And you're right. We do get to talk about this 5 days a week because there's been some more information coming out about North Carolina as it relates to the portal, and some of it good, some of it not so good. And there's an initial report about them being cheap when it comes to portal and NIL deals and everything else that could lead to people not coming here and also people leaving. Bo Atkinson being the biggest one, as we found out yesterday. But we'll talk to Andrew Jones about that a little bit later on. It's weird. We can spin this to state real quick because we're going to spend more time talking about UNC with Andrew. But I expected, if you believe the reports, I expected NC State to be cheap. We understood that NC State was going to be cheap.
We're talking about football?
Football.
Okay.
That they're essentially we're going to be ballers on a budget for a couple of reasons. One, there's not that much money floating around at NC State. Dave Doran is at this point in his career where people are just kind of at NC State specifically, where people are kind of like, man, we spent all this money last year and the year before. What kind of results are we getting? Maybe there's a little bit of a pulling back when it comes to that. And of course, you have the Will Wade hire that has shifted a little bit of that turf war for money over to basketball.
In fairness to Dave, I've heard some clips since the end of the season where he's talking about he just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Adding that many players, and he felt like they lost a little bit of their identity culture-wise, and it was harder than even he thought.
Yeah.
Because remember, their hallmark has been that consistency, whether it's the staff or whether it's players on the roster. So I think, while I agree with you, NC State's budget is significantly less than UNC's, I also think Dave hit the brakes a little bit and said, yeah, this is not something that I'm comfortable doing, because I feel like I know how to win a certain way, and that has been through development, and it's harder to do when you're parachuting guys in for 1 year.
Yeah.
I think you could still do that at certain positions, but I think ultimately he would like for the foundation of his team to be players who are there for more than just 1 or 2 years.
But as we get into the professionalization of college athletics.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy.
Monday, what's this? Guy who was cheap on paying players at the Patriots is doing the same thing in college. Yeah, no shock, Andy. Just complete shock on that one.
The guy who got the generational quarterback to continually take a discount and give money back to the team in order to have team success. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, weird how that worked out. No, but the thing about having money, that doesn't mean going out and spending money and changing your roster every year. Money also means you get to retain. This always used to be let's spin this to a particular era of Yankees baseball.
Sure.
The biggest misconception that people had with the Yankees during that time, I'm talking specifically about the 90s.
The core four.
You had your core, but they also had very, very smart and a very, very good development system. They actually had scouts. They had a minor league system. They could bring guys up through the system, get them to the Yankees, and then most importantly, keep them. And that's the thing that I'd be curious about. I'm sure we'll talk to Doran once we get to ACC kickoff. I get his point. You don't want to Mike Norvell this thing. Totally understand that. And my attitude as it relates to the quarterback play in particular, since they've gone through the portal for a quarterback, it hasn't necessarily worked out when they had a guy already on the roster that they could have developed into. Hi, MJ Morris, as we look at the jersey, or how I banged on the CJ Bailey thing this year. Like, he should have just gone with CJ Bailey, developed him, used the money to keep him, and then keep going, right? So I would be curious to see if it's not just about not doing the Mike Norvell thing, but recalibrating how you want to spend the money. And I think that might be the thing that NC State would rather do.
I also think there's a significant difference financially between basketball and football. As we talked about, you could take a shortcut in basketball and get there.
Yeah.
In football, I just don't think there's a shortcut. And I'm going to tell you the most fascinating team in college football this year. It's not Carolina. It's not Deion Sanders. It's Indiana. He bought in 23 players from James Madison, or 15. He bought in 23 new players last year. I think 15 of them were from James Madison. Unless he's reloading with James Madison's roster again, this is a classic. Let me see you do it again. And I think this is where we get into it's a year to year proposition. And what worked one year might not work the next year.
Now, here's something that both Carolina fans and NC State fans, and to a certain extent, maybe even Duke fans, can, of a certain age, can relate to. R.I.P. Gary Birdsong. This is from the Wolf Web. You might not know who Gary Birdsong is in name, but if I used the name Gary and added Gary the Pit Preacher or Gary the Brickyard Preacher, now suddenly you're going, wait a minute. Do you remember when you were at NC State? Because you and I were at NC State, but we did not overlap while we were at NC State.
We did. I was a senior when you were a freshman.
No, you graduated in 96.
7.
Oh, then yes. Okay, my bad. We had that 1 year, my freshman year, your senior year. Do you remember a gentleman that would hang outside the Freedom of Expression tunnel in front of the student stores and Reynolds that would have a big old sign with all the things that are going to send you to hell?
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
That's Gary. Gary the Brickyard Preacher, or at Carolina, Gary the Pit Preacher. When you were bored in between classes, sometimes I would do this. I would go to the Student Center Annex and hit that Taco Bell. Remember that Taco Bell in the basement?
Yeah.
Dude, I hit that Taco Bell all the damn time. So I would grab my Cholitos or
not the Little Dinos. Lil.
Okay.
That was such an affront to sandwiches.
For the
especially 19-year-old Joe from New Jersey. I was like, no.
Look, I don't want to be I don't want to be one of those old guys.
Oh, but please,
but I will be one of those old guys. Students today don't know how good they have it.
No, they really don't.
In terms of amenities on a campus.
Oh, Student Center at State's amazing.
It's the Student Center now is amazing. Your food options are amazing. Yes, my lunches for a certain period of time at NC State consisted of Taco Bell in the Student Center Annex before it got all torn out, the Chick-fil-A or the Red Baron pizzas.
Oh gosh, the Chick-fil-A was in the library.
In the library,
the main library. Yeah.
Yes. So your real options were Chick-fil-A or Red Baron pizza.
That line at that Chick-fil-A was always popping, man.
Yeah,
always.
So that pit preacher. What I would do, I'd grab Taco Bell, I'd go over there and sit and watch him argue with people. And people would take the bait and they would just absolutely rip into him. He would say ridiculous things about women. If a woman was walking by just wearing the wrong thing and it had to be very pure, he would just, you're going to hell, you harlot, and all this other stuff.
So we're talking Old Testament here.
Oh, real Old Testament, fire and brimstone, man.
Leviticus.
Fire and brimstone. Got it. Yeah, so that brought back memories. I was like, is this really the guy? But apparently it's him.
No longer with us.
He is no longer with us.
Okay.
Heaven or hell, I wonder.
I don't know.
No. I guess I'll find out one day. See if he's there yelling at people.
You could get your Taco Bell.
Get my Taco Bell in heaven.
Check him out.
Is Gary here?
Things to do.
You know what else is in heaven? Taco Bell. All the things they've discontinued.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Mexi Melt.
Unlimited Mexi Melts in heaven, man. Unlimited. Housekeeping. Big thanks to Enovana for sponsoring Housekeeping. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
So, as we mentioned, we got the OG birthday bash, year number 2. It will be at Shady's in Garner, May 1st. We're going to have a lot of things to raffle away. We will also have your first opportunity, the first time ever, the unveiling of, the tapping of OG Light, the podcast signature beer-flavored beer.
Are you going to just tap it and not pre-test it?
I've tested a batch already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
I will say,
is it beer-flavored beer?
It's beer-flavored beer.
Oh.
It leans a little PBR-ish.
Okay.
So that's what I was looking for.
Sounds good to me.
Cheap beer-flavored beer, which is very much us.
Okay. We got a percent on that sucker?
I got to double check on that. Okay. I got to double check with the brewer on what the percent is. I want to say it's like 4 point something.
Perfect.
It's not going to be heavy.
Perfect.
It's not going to be a heavy beer. They did, the guys who were brewing this for us did joke about making a beer that is 9.99%. But I said, I would like Giglio to function.
Yeah.
I would like him to function. Like, I guess, like, I see what you're, even then,
620.
Even then, I'm not so sure. It's got to be sub 5. It's going to be sub 5.
I would drink fewer, though.
This is true. This is true. So we're going to have all sorts of stuff. So OG beer, OG Light is going to be there. We're going to tap that. That's the first time. It'll be in cans eventually. But your first opportunity to check it out will be then. We're going to have bourbon that we're going to raffle off. What are you making a face for?
Because I have a feeling you're going to say something about the food options, which are still not quite nailed down.
Well, I figured if there's something about food, you'll tell me that it's ready.
Okay.
You will tell me when it's ready.
I mean, if I have to get the grill out and make hot dogs, I will.
Fair enough.
Not the feature.
Not the feature.
It's just the feature, a luxury item that will be there.
The features are the beer, the bourbon raffles. We got a lot of tchotchkes that we're going to be raffling off.
I was going to say, we have a lot more in the raffle this time around than just bourbon. Bourbon is fantastic. Thanks to Chris, thanks to Ken, thanks to John out in G Vegas taking care of us. But we have gift cards from pretty much all of our people. We have gift cards from in this raffle this time around. So I'm very excited about that.
We will also be doing, I got a new hat design.
Are you going to have a hat ready for 5-1?
Yes. It's going to be a one-off, though, just for the...
Oh, kind of like the other one that we did.
Yes. It's going to be...
I see what you're saying.
It's going to be just for... it's just for the party.
Hey, please tell me it's the Champagne podcast.
No.
No, we're not ready to pull that one off yet.
I don't have that one yet.
Okay.
I don't have that one yet.
Michael's sending us some curse or don't swag, so we can have some of that too.
Okay. That's good.
Maybe even a stray flag, because he really needs to get in front of you and explain color palettes to you and what numbers they are and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know any.
Yeah, he's on it though.
I don't even understand any of that stuff. Sorry, I was texting with Andrew because I guess I didn't send him the link. Gilf, is that a golfer I'd like to? It might be. Anyway, so all these things are going on with the OG birthday bash. That's going to be May 1st at Shady's. Of course, this is all thanks to our friends at Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out online at wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer. We talked about doing some sort of block party for the playoffs. Guess what? It's not going to be on Sunday, Easter Sunday. And guess what? It ain't going to be Tuesday for a 6 o'clock face-off.
Club's going up on a Tuesday?
No, it won't be. But we will eventually do something at Breeze Through. Okay. If you are going to be tailgating on Easter Sunday, I don't know, bring the ham of God out to the tailgate. All right. You never had the ham of God? So, come on, it's a Catholic. You've never had the ham of God? Come on. Actually, some friends of ours.
Ham of God? Is that
no ham? It's the ham of God.
Supposed to be?
No, they actually did they made a meatloaf in the shape of Jesus.
Speaking of Leviticus,
it was amazing.
I don't think pig was.
Anyway,
our Lord's choice.
So we're gonna be
technically
gonna be at a Breeze Through eventually. So just keep that in mind. Get all the stuff that you need at breezethrough.com. We also thank our friends at Two Roosters. We already got the cream cheese ripple reference.
Yes, 423. So that's next. We got the calendar right here, Giglio.
Okay.
Next Wednesday.
Okay.
Over in Cary, Waverly Place.
Okay.
The genius behind the chocolate chip carrot cake ice cream will be there. 3 Courage players, including Denise O'Sullivan, who came up with that carrot cake, chocolate chip carrot cake. Check them out over at Waverly in Cary, Waverly Place in Cary. Please go to Waverly Place in Cary and stay away from my location in Person Street in Raleigh, because I need full access people.
Fair.
None of these lines. Okay.
Fair. And of course, our friends over at Longleaf, you can make it a Friday night. Go to Longleaf on Friday night. Check out the new and improved revamped way they go about their dinners. Sit down. They give you a menu, full service. It's great. And then you can head over to Two Roosters, but go to longleafswine.com. Again, that's longleafswine.com. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, Tar Heel Illustrated, he is Andrew Jones. Been a hot minute since we caught up. Andrew, what's going on, man?
What's up, fellas? You guys are talking about some interesting stuff. That chocolate carrot cake. I don't know, man. That's never heard of that before.
Oh, it's delicious. Chocolate chip carrot cake. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Wow. Andrew, I see behind you have a great assortment of Final Four, ACC championship stuff, your Orioles. I do not see your red decoder glasses that you could see through the jerseys at the practice like a pro to determine who these players were. So how did you make heads or tails of practice like a pro?
Well, I tried raising funds to get some DNA experts that would be able to go out on the field and drag and examine the sweat droppings after the players left. And we would kind of combine all the photos we had and time stamp them to see who's who. But I knew that, I'll tell you one guy I knew. We knew Bo Atkinson. He stood out, right?
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Georgia Bulldog or Ohio State Buckeye Bo Atkinson. We knew the quarterbacks, and that was it. And then, of course, there are a few other people that are easy to spot when they're on the sideline as well. So
do you think one of Jordan Hudson's 15 LLCs, registered LLCs, could potentially help you with those DNA tests?
It's wild that when she would walk to, they told us originally we could go on the field. So it was absolutely no surprise. It was disappointment, no surprise when we got there and said, nope, can't go on the field. Bill doesn't want you anywhere near him. So they had a part of the stands that we were able to hang out in and watch. And she walked over to the area where we were on the field. There were 80% of the eyeballs were on her, taking pictures of her. They weren't even looking at practice. I mean, she has become a star. And I talked to somebody at the university the other day. I said, I'm dealing with a little bit of a quandary on how we handle her from a coverage standpoint, from a mentioning standpoint. Up to today or the other day on our board, I hadn't really mentioned her before because I wasn't sure how relevant she was to football. But now that she does the branding and she's going out on the field during practice when receivers are doing drills and she's fixing the mic and stuff, she's part of the program. I think she's become fair game.
I said this a couple of weeks ago. We are not that far from getting a story where she sent Bill a TikTok of some kid's reel of his workout footage, his high school highlight tape. And he's going to say at a recruiting, if he's here next year at a signing day, if he talks at signing day, oh, well, Jordan saw this guy on TikTok and we really think he's going to be a big deal. I'm telling you, we're not that far from that thing being reality. I'm telling you right now, I'm calling it.
That would have sounded completely insane 12 months ago. Now it kind of fits where we are because we're on this tsunami that's reshaping the coastline everywhere.
So
and we don't really know what it's going to look like when we come out because we got to wait for the water to recede and see what's damaged and what's still standing. And maybe the Jordan Hudsons of the world are going to become normal around a lot of programs. Maybe not girlfriends, but people like them becoming personalities. Michael Lombardi is suddenly the second most important person in Carolina football. I mention him in articles more than I do coordinators. Yeah. Are we going to soon be mentioning people like her and her role in articles everywhere around the country?
I think so, but all this stuff gets away from the core thing that we thought Bill Belichick was all about, keeping the main thing, which is football, right? Yeah. And I feel like this week has really spun into overdrive the conversation about what exactly is this program right now after a few months of him on the job and college football going back to normalcy. The big programs are going to spend their money. They're going to go out and get the guys in the portal. The quarterback stuff is going to play. Everybody goes on about their life, right? And there was a report, I think it was a 24/7 report, that from the national site that said that North Carolina is being stingy in the portal right now, which would explain the ratio of guys leaving versus guys coming in the portal trackers and everything else. That the reason why Bo Atkinson is no longer at North Carolina is because, well, they weren't going to pay the money that Bo Atkinson can command in the portal right now at an Ohio State or a Michigan or wherever it might be. So what is the truth? What's the rumor? Where are we with this idea that North Carolina isn't really being a player with the money right now?
I think they will be the player with the money, with the right guy, with the right people, the right position group. They have no interior defensive linemen. If they played today, TCU would run for 800 yards right up the gut.
Right.
So they're going to have to spend money to fortify the defensive line. And the Bo Atkinson thing, I was trying to connect the dots the other night, and they brought in a couple of defensive ends that they love, the kid from Delaware and the kid from UConn. And they may look at that and say, look, those guys can get X number of snaps. We're only going to play Bo X number of snaps because you want to keep those pass rushers fresh. And Bo had great numbers last year, playing about 23 snaps a game. So how value is a guy who gives you 30 snaps a game when you've got other guys that can get to the quarterback? There are other areas they need to fortify more that they want to spend money on. So if you're going to spend X number of dollars on Bo to keep him when you already feel pretty good about that position group, how does that affect how you go out and fill some of the other spots? They're very frugal. They come from the NFL background where you have a cap, so you have to be frugal. So
you don't have to be frugal here, though.
I think there's a lot to be said, and this is where Hubert Davis isn't wrong. It hasn't been wrong.
Okay.
If you overspend on a guy, everybody in the room knows it, and then they got to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to build culture and no numbers on the jersey, and we don't want colored gloves or anything like that, the last thing you're going to do is overspend on a guy, A, just to keep him, so people don't question it because he doesn't give a crap what any of us say.
Right.
B, because you're afraid you won't get anybody to replace him. And C, because you're not going to do the legwork to go find other guys. They're doing the legwork. There's no doubt about it. They have a massive staff that's doing the legwork, and they don't have the loyalty to Bo Atkinson that Mac Brown would have. Mac Brown may have paid for him to stay, but they don't have the loyalty because they just got here. Mm-hmm. And they look at the world as through an NFL lens, to the 33rd NFL team. They're going to treat everybody accordingly. So the guys that can handle it will stick around. The guys that can't will go. And that's what we're seeing. And I'm not saying Bo couldn't handle it. I'm just saying Bo's going to make more money somewhere else.
Yeah.
Someone else will overpay for him.
That's certainly a choice. And I get it. I get what their mentality is. I know what they're familiar with, but what they're familiar with isn't exactly the game that's being played in college. And I think getting away from somebody like Bo Atkinson, let's talk about the quarterback situation. You know, if this is NFL light, there's already legal tampering, and we're seeing players immediately commit to a new school, even like the evening before the portal officially opens. So where do we stand on Gio Lopez? We know that they're losing the Purdue quarterback. The guy was here for 5 months, comes out of the spring, looking like he was going to be the starter. Now he's not. He's gone. And then you see these reports about Gio Lopez out of South Alabama. But if there's one thing we know about this portal era and overspending for QBs and whatnot, I could see bidding going up for a guy like Gio Lopez. And how comfortable are they, quote unquote, overpaying for somebody like him? So where do things stand on that?
Well, that's why his camp was so smart not to agree to anything until the portal opened.
Yeah.
Because then suddenly the lists come out. Who are the top guys at these spots? And he's up there at quarterback on every list. So suddenly he costs more. And if you're North Carolina, would you rather have a quarterback that you trust or a defensive end? So you got to look at where you're going to put your money. You got to look at where you can have a locker room where everyone's got a different price tag. And all those guys in there understand the quarterback is the most important dude in there. So if you got to overpay to get a quarterback, they can deal with that. But because who's jockeying for that job? Bryce Baker is going to be a 1-year guy before he's ready to go, probably. Okay. He's not going to worry about that right now. His deal is just getting better. Mm-hmm. But at the other position groups, you bring a guy in for his 1 year from UConn. If they way overpay for Bo, how does that affect him? How does that affect his attitude? How does that affect the room? And we're seeing a lot of bad rooms around the country. Mm-hmm. You've seen some teams that went and spent like crazy and they got terrible rooms. So I think they're trying to guard against a lot of stuff. And you said it yourself. There's the college football way. They're going to learn a lot more in the next 8 months than they have in the last 4 times 1,000. Because once these kids start playing, once they start going over film, once mom and dad starts calling and says Johnny's not getting enough snaps, or what, Johnny's getting 30 snaps a game, that guy's getting 20, and that guy's getting $40,000 a year more.
Yeah.
You don't deal with the parents in the NFL. They never get to the Belichicks or the Lombardis. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle that. That might, if he's around for a year or two, that might change how they go about things this time next year. But I think they're learning on the fly. They've done a ton of due diligence, but there's only so much due diligence you can do without having been in the fire. And they haven't been in the fire in the college landscape yet.
I apologize, Andrew, if you've addressed this, but I know it's not cool to dump on Mac Brown anymore, but with the news that Zach Rice is leaving, I'm correct on that, right?
Yeah.
The curse of the 5-star recruit to either NC State or UNC continues. Zach Rice, second-rated player all time, according to 247 Sports, gone. Travis Shaw, gone. Tony Grimes, my best friend, gone 2 times over. Keyshawn Silver, gone. Like, how does that even possible? I know what age it is. But these aren't quarterbacks we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a lineman and ran a corner. The heck?
So I mentioned this in one of our pods, and I put it on the board a couple of times. I've had to be very diplomatic about it, but as time passes, the longer that Mac's not around, I've talked to some coaches, and I've talked to some people who scout recruiting, and they say that, and I'm not going to speak for NC State, but I'll speak for North Carolina because that's been my focus. They tend to get the 4s and the occasional 5 who think it's going to be easier there than somewhere else because there's less competition to get on the field. Mm-hmm. So maybe they're not the guys that love football as much. Maybe they're not the guys that truly believe in themselves enough or want to test themselves against the best. A 4-star that goes to Georgia when they have 6 guys in front of him is a guy that believes in himself.
Yeah.
A 4-star that might go to Carolina or NC State when there's maybe a 3-star with experience in front of them, they think, I'm better than that guy. I'm a 4-star. You don't walk into the Ohio State football facility as a freshman and say, I'm a 5-star.
Right.
But you can walk into the Keenan Football Center as a freshman and say, I'm a 5-star. And I think that, and based on what these people have said, that's part of the problem. They get the softer 4s and 5s because they don't believe in the competitive aspect. And then once they don't get on the field, they stray away. Travis Shaw had a ton of issues just keeping his weight. You know, when you find a Twinkie in the guy's locker in the middle of the summer and he's supposed to be losing weight, what does that say? You know, when Zach Rice has all these pancakes. I was told by someone in the program, and I'm not trying to be, I don't want to denigrate these kids, but it's a fair game. They're professional athletes now. I was told that Zach Rice had all these pancakes that he was keeping track of in high school. And someone said he only pancaked like 8 guys over 200 pounds. And that when he got to Carolina, and I was told this by the staff, he struggled big time with the physicality. And you couldn't gauge that on film. And all these camps where kids get the high rankings, there's no physical contact. There's no pads. I've been to a ton of those things, and it's just skill stuff. Mm-hmm. And when you get it in a 3 or a 4-point stand, skill is great, but you got to be a dog, man. And if you're not a dog, skill doesn't mean anything.
Well, to your point, Giglio had sent this to me. This is from North Carolina's Instagram account. This is how they've
reinvented the wheel.
There's a way to
no one's ever thought about
there's
this.
A way to roll your eyes at this and talk about nutrition and various other things. But clearly,
thank God the 33rd NFL franchise is here because, man, no one's ever thought of this.
Yeah, this is from the UNC football Instagram account.
We hired our new chef who was with Coach Belichick at the Patriots, and he's done a phenomenal job. I mean, I think the food was good before, but now I think it tastes great.
I'm Josh Grimes, Executive Chef, Sports Performance at UNC Chapel Hill. So when you go into the NFL, a lot of the players have very specific routines that we have to tailor around. And the goal now is to help build those routines so that when they go into the NFL, they're successful and they're already ready to go, because the majority of the rookies don't know what they're doing. And, we'll prepare them.
I'm also assuming, Andrew, if we're going to keep this very NFL-like, there's going to be Uncrustables everywhere at the football facilities. Or I'm sorry, the NBA. They're all big on peanut butter and jellies, man. Just saying, the pros love a peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Andrew's like Joe's.
Almost like little granola nutrition bars.
He's getting himself into when he joins us. He knows this.
I did not know this was coming, and I had not seen that before. So you're getting a raw reaction here.
It gets better.
God. You know, chicken breast is a damn chicken breast, right? Good God.
No.
No. This
Look,
is Patriot way.
Joe, you were on a beat. Joe Giglio, you were on a beat for a long time, and sometimes you get into the weeds of conversations with guys. You find out what they eat.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've learned in recent years that it has become more scientific, where every guy has their own specific diet. But by and large, they're eating chicken, they're eating steak, they're eating a lot of vegetables, and certain guys can handle some more carbs than others. Basically, some guys can handle a little bit more sugar than others, and that's kind of where it goes. But they're all eating chicken. Every one of them. What do you eat? What do you eat for pregame? Chicken and vegetables, and maybe a potato or a little bit of pasta so they can burn that sugar off. Yeah. It's pretty much that. I've been through the facility many, many times. I've seen what these guys eat. I've seen the snacks. They're the exact same there as I guarantee you they are in the Murphy Football Center. They're I don't know. Are they trying to tell us that they're reinventing every
yes
spoke in the wheel?
Yes. Wow.
I had not seen that before. And I hate to be cynical, but it's hard not to be cynical when people are telling you they just discovered the sun. This thing that's been brightening every 12 hours, it's actually called the sun. And I get that vibe, and we don't have access, so we can't ask. We can't ask about the chef. How is this different than before? Well, see, I would love to. We haven't talked to a player since Fenway Park. And the only guy we talked to then that was at spring practice is no longer there. It's Bo Atkinson. Yeah. I mean, we can't even say, hey, how is the food different?
You have not talked to a player since the bowl game?
We have not talked to a player since Fenway Park.
Wow.
Yeah. We've talked to Belichick twice, his intro presser, and then the day of the second spring practice. We talked to Lombardi in the middle of February. That's it.
Okay, that tracks, though, because Joe and I have been racking our brains. Mr. I know the rules and I know how to exploit them, right? Is Bill Belichick. Mm-hmm. So he's loving this no number stuff.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he even puts the names on the website, quite frankly, because Harbaugh didn't. But he loves this. I don't have to make people available? Well, go fuck yourself. You're not available. Yeah. You'll watch you got to do what I did at the end of Doran. You got to watch the thing that they put out and learn information about what they're doing. That's the only way to do it.
Although I am curious, this was something that Stuart Mandel followed up on The Athletic this week, coming out of the spring games, and just the general mystery of what's going on over at UNC, kind of tying back to the start of this conversation, and that the only real thing that we know about UNC right now, football-wise, is the girlfriend through FOIA, through her available, being out there on the field and things like that. Now, look, Andrew, I can galaxy brain this like I did earlier in the week, that Bill Belichick, to Joe's point, mystery. I'm going to break out something on the football field you've never thought of before. I'm in the lab tinkering. That he wants you focused on that stuff, like the girlfriend, rather than actually talking about the football team, good or bad. Yeah, so I can understand that level of overthinking from a football coach, especially somebody like Bill Belichick. But Mandel made a really, really good point about UNC football specifically and buy-in from fan base in Chapel Hill. Is this the way to sell football to UNC fans, the way they're going about this right now?
Yes, and I'll say that because they're sick and tired of being told what they're going to be like and it not coming to fruition.
Okay.
That's so fair. Now they're not being told anything. So if I would say the majority of the people on our board, and I interact with people on our YouTube channel now and also on Facebook, but the board is a little more sophisticated fan on our site. And 85% of them don't want to hear any negatives. They expect this thing to be a dynasty overnight. They're expecting 10, 11 wins. They're expecting someone that can show them how football walks on water in Chapel Hill for the first time ever. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing that they're hearing that's changing their mind other than now they're seeing the portal. Bo left. Well, what's going on? Christian Hamilton left. What's going on? And, Zach Rice left. They're just weeding out the soft guys. But who are they bringing in? They're bringing in a quarterback from South Alabama, a 6-foot, 220-pound left-handed quarterback who was honorable mention all Sun Belt last year is probably a guy coming in. Now, he's got a tremendous upside, But if you would have told them, if Mac Brown were to bring in an honorable mention, 6 foot, 220-pound left-handed quarterback from South Alabama, they would want to burn his house down. But they're buying it with Belichick because they think that he sees some ingredient in this guy no one else does. So we're going to trust in Bill. Chapel Bill, baby. I get it because I understand their need and their desire, their burning desire to be relevant because they've been told they were going to be relevant. Carolina football's bumped its head on the ceiling a lot, but it's never gone through. And a lot of them have become jaded. Now they get this guy who wanted them. And they feel kind of good, and they think maybe it's going to finally happen now. Yeah. So maybe less is more for the fan base right now.
I have a summer project for you, Andrew.
All right.
One of my finest moments in my life, my tape watching life, was Jacoby Brissett's rookie season in 2016. That also happened to be the year that Tom Brady was suspended for the first 4 games of the year. Now they started Handsome Jim, whatever his last name is. I've already forgotten his name. Jimmy, whatever.
Jimmy
Garoppolo. They started Handsome Jim for the first 2 games, and people were like, see, Bill's got a plan. Bill knows what he's doing. Handsome Jimmy gets hurt, and they go, we're going to start Jacoby Brissett. And I believe it was a Thursday night game. Andrew, when I tell you, I called probably 10 of the first 15 plays of that game because I knew that Bill Belichick was going to go, what does Jacoby Brissett do well? And he was going to turn on the Florida State tape from when Jacoby Brissett played Florida State. I'm telling you, it was like a 1-for-1. Go back and watch that game. So whoever the mobile quarterback is, you're going to see the jet sweeps. You're going to see the bootlegs. You're going to see the tight end screens. You're going to see all the quick dink and dunk shit that he knows quick quarterbacks can handle. And I'm sitting here calling these things out. I'm in real time. And my people are like, why do you have a pulse on what the hell Belichick's doing right now? And I'm like, I'm telling you, you just have to put yourself in his mindset. The genius of Belichick truly is he will figure out from game to game how to play differently and how to win. That truly is his genius. Go back to the Monday night game they played in Detroit one time where he threw the ball 25 times to start the game. Yeah. You know, and then it would be wet and shitty out. And he'd be like, okay, we're going to run, 55 times with Lawrence Maroney and whoever else. So, but I'm serious, Andrew. Go back to that 2016 start from Brissett. You'll see a lot of plays that you recognize.
That's interesting you say that because I've watched a lot of film of Gio Lopez just in case, and we actually did a podcast already just in case. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of just in case work.
You got to, man. Theater of the mind on some of this shit, man.
And when you're telling me that, I'm envisioning the fact that we're hearing that there's a fullback involved in Chapel Hill now. Yeah. So, Bill, you and I both covered the last college football coach that was in love with fullbacks. His name was Tom O'Brien. Right? He loved fullbacks. Fullbacks were the dudes back then at NC State, right?
And he refused to throw them the ball, but he refused to let them run the ball. Yes.
Imagine having a fullback and a running back next to Gio Lopez. He gets a direct snap. The fullback blocks. The running back goes that way. And Bill is changing college football back to the way it used to be a little bit. I think they're going to go run heavy, and I think that's what the appeal of a guy like this is. And I also know that just like T.O.B. used to say, in his interesting way, when you throw the ball, only 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. He used to say that every freaking week.
I promise you, Andrew.
And I guarantee you, Belichick lives in that world.
I promise you, the other game to go back and watch is the Panthers Super Bowl. You're going to get the Vrabel leak, which is a fullback play. You're going to get that play, and you're going to get the direct snap to Kevin Falk. I promise you. I'll have a bingo card. I will have a bingo card of all of the plays that they will have, but he will dust all of them off and act like people don't remember who the fuck he is and the plays that he calls on the goal line all of the time. That was another game in real time. I'm like, I'm going to call this play right now. It's just a matter of who becomes the Vrabel, who becomes the Falk, who becomes his little maggot. He's got his types. He's like Roy. That's the one thing that he's got his types. Who's the Gronk? They might try.
But it's a proven concept.
But
he's running up. It's proven.
I have to.
I accept the assignment, and if I talk to you guys sometime around the start of fall camp, ask me about it.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem, though. I get what you're saying, but when I was talking to somebody about this the other day. You're operating from having a crop of the best of the best. You go to the draft, you are being presented with anybody and everybody and a very select few that can make the NFL. you're not dealing with that in college. And it ties back to the start of the conversation, is that those with talent are going to expect money. And I think my stance on this is that you can overthink and get away with it in the NFL because the world is your oyster, because there's only 32 teams.
You also have a foundational piece in place.
There's that
most
too.
of the time.
There's that. Who, as somebody
So
in the
there's
comments,
33 teams. Come on.
You're right. My bad.
But the great Adam Smith said at the end of practice the other day, if this is the 33rd team in the NFL, now we know who has the first pick in the draft next year.
If only.
I know.
You trade out of it.
I mean, speaking of Adams, Adam Lucas, not happy with the Bo Atkinson thing. I don't know if you saw Lucas's.
I have not. No.
Oh,
man.
you need to look up that one.
And I thumb through the portal like the old yellow pages, man. It's unbelievable. That's all I do. So I get 10,000 minimum 10,000 steps every day. I had to get a chunk in earlier today, and I had to text my staff. I'm going to get my steps right now. I'll be back at 1:47. I got to do something, and then I'm going on with you guys. So I got to let them know every move I make, so somebody is thumbing through those so-called yellow pages.
No,
so
but
I don't even know.
Oh,
You know what?
here
If
it
a
is.
nuclear bomb went off in Europe yesterday,
know.
I wouldn't even know right now.
You wouldn't know.
I'm like a football coach.
Can
They
you
don't know
pull up
anything
the
that's
tweet?
going on.
All right, so
Now,
Joe's pulling up the tweet.
You're a veteran of such things now, Andrew, and you know that information it can be tight over there, and criticism valid, right? Like valid. Like there was the Clemson game this year where Adam and both Jones and Adam were like pretty down on the basketball situation.
They were,
and kind of made it vocal. These are early days for Adam Lucas to be out here shooting his shot early on the King. From the football angle, the Hills will find someone else to rush the quarterback, but from a Tar Heel perspective, this is an in-state player who was part of Keenan Flagler, doing great academically and was developing into a tremendous player. The type that made college sports fun. I look at that, Andrew, and I go, whoa, somebody early is getting the Ghost Tower Ghost Rider, negative Ghost Rider
pattern.
Here's the real Tar Heel. The real Tar Heel. Because Daddy being an assistant coach 100 years ago does not qualify you, sir, to be a real Tar Heel.
I'm an enormous Adam Lucas fan. I think Adam's a great writer. I've known Adam for 29 years.
Yes.
I've known Adam for a long time.
And that
but he also has a job. He also has a job that he's not independent.
Yeah.
So I get that. And I feel for anybody who takes a job, who has a job, and they're not entirely independent, because sometimes they can't fully say what they want. But I think that's part of Chapel Hill right now. And that's one of the reasons why people that think it's going to be really easy to go outside the family to hire the next basketball coach, if and when that time comes, got to understand that there's an underlying culture there that is made out of steel and is very unbendable. And Adam, I think, reflects that some. So I get that, but also that might be, and I haven't talked to him, I'll send him a note and ask him, but it also might be just sort of maybe the first shock of the Belichick era, where, wait a second, this is really different. It's not just we're going to win, but there are no feelings. Nobody cares about your feelings. Nobody cares where you came from. Nobody cares who your mom is. As I said in a podcast the other day, I covered the Panthers for a while, and one of the things that struck me is, outside of a few guys, every dude in that room is playing for their next meal.
Right.
And I think they want to create a culture in Kenan Stadium where every dude's playing for their next meal. And for them, going back to the bargain pricing, they have to do bargain shopping because they're still underneath a salary cap, basically. And they're also looking at culture. We don't know what the dynamics were. We don't know how Bo was with the program. We don't know what those conversations were like. We don't know how he got along with the other defensive ends or anything like that. We probably never will know, because it's a lot harder to get close to the castle now than it used to be. But
this is a shot from inside the castle, though, sir.
I think that.
But there
I
will be
think
no
the Carolina fans,
justice,
Adam Lucas included,
yeah.
need to step back and understand that this is a different world. This is North Carolina in uniform. They're using the stadium, they're using the facilities, but it is not business as usual in any way, shape, or form it's ever been. The difference between Larry Fedora's program and Mac Brown's program was a lot closer to Mac's program and Bill Belichick's program once we finally see it fully rolled out.
Yeah. Speaking of Mac Brown, one other quick tangent, because it's been a conversation filled with tangents. When's Mac's first appearance on a national outlet to tell you about what's going on at UNC? Is it after the TCU game when they get beat by TCU? Is it before that?
I told you they weren't that good. I told you they made a mistake.
Mac has already made it known
in the chamber.
Mac already knows he's got the drafts ready. He might fire up Twitter for the first time ever.
You notice he dusted this off.
Every
damn photo.
Hey man, it was not lost on me that burnt orange vest showed up real quick. There was probably a pile of Carolina blue stuff out in front of his house after he and Sally bolted. All right, so
remember when Mike O'Kane put all his NC State stuff in a box out in front of his house?
Yes.
In fairness, it was like Apex Sports. Like it was a terrible.
It was a bad apparel deal. So to get back to where we were before we went on our many tangents, so we'll wrap on this. I understand the thought. I understand that you think you can outsmart everybody because you trust your eye for talent. Because heck, we just did this in the NFL. But I still can't get past the fundamental difference of at the time 32 teams, because now we have 33. But at the time there were 32 teams. And you had your pick. If you really wanted to go about that. But now it's a completely different animal. And larger roster sizes. You have other schools that have more money than you. You have situations that are simply going to go with the money. So this is really putting a stress test on this eye for talent. And Patriot fans will tell you that the eye for talent really started to drop off there in the final years. And it really dropped off when it came to replacing Tom Brady. So that's the thing that I'm most interested in that we're kind of by default acting as though Mike Lombardi and Belichick and the Brain Trust know what they need talent-wise. And I don't know if that's truly the case based on what we saw in the last last 5 years with the Patriots.
Well, in the limited interaction that we've had, they give off the strong vibe that they know everything, and we don't really need to ask them about this and that because they already know. You know, Roy used to say, don't ever ask me a question, have you thought about? Because the answer is yes.
Yes.
So with these guys, with the success that they've had, and they come in to sort of save a program, but it's a program. I don't know how much it was their program beforehand that they felt like they needed to save. It's a program to save, and it's a program with some stature, so they didn't have to tell people where Chapel Hill is when they go into living rooms or talk to kids on Zoom or anything like that. But I think with them, they have such a strong belief that they just know how to do it. And I would say maybe in talking to some people around Chapel Hill, around athletics, there's an arrogance. There's sort of the football building's over here, everything else is over there. And they've had past coaches that weren't like that. They've had past coaches in football that got involved with the university. You saw in basketball, you saw Roy everywhere. You saw Mac a lot of places. Larry Fedora was at all kinds of stuff and accessible.
Yep.
But there's almost like a pro operation that's using the facilities on campus, and they're going to call themselves the North Carolina Tar Heels because a lot of the guys happen to go to class there. So we're kind of talking out loud right now about stuff that none of us really fully know because we haven't had access, so we can't ask questions. We don't even have behind the scenes access to the point where we can at least get some understanding. I made a request Saturday to the new media relations guy over there. Look, I just want to understand him. I want to understand why we're not getting anything. Just give us a better understanding of who he is, because you got to know who you're covering.
Yeah.
When you cover a beat, you just got to have an idea who this person is. And other than what he wants to put out there, we don't really know. And going back to what you said earlier, Joe Ovies, I have to say the full name here because I'll confuse you guys, that what you said about Jordan Hudson. Like, she's the one that everybody sees.
Yep.
I had a conversation with somebody the other day close to the university in this whole situation about how we go about that, because she's become so prominent. And if I wanted to go clickbait, I would just do Jordan Hudson. We'd run a Jordan Hudson photo gallery from the other day if we want to go clickbait, but we don't do clickbait. But we have to, at some point, insert her into something that we're doing because she has become a part of the program. It's just a new, we knew Sally was. Mac talked about it all the time.
Yeah.
And I said to someone the other day, maybe Bill could Bill could answer a question. What is Jordan doing in the program? What does she mean to the program? Mac had no problem saying, oh, Sally, come in here and eat lunch with the guys.
Yeah.
She showed up every day at lunch when we had the press conferences. Every day I was in the football facility at around 11 a.m., 11:30. Sally showed up and would go have lunch with players. How is Jordan a part of the program more than what we see on social media? I think it's important to know at this point.
2 more homework assignments for you if you haven't already.
All right.
Not being serious. The Education of a Coach. I read this book.
I gotta write this crap down, man. You're giving me all this.
Write it down.
No,
David
Halberstam wrote a book about Belichick. It's like the only person he ever cooperated with.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very good book.
Interesting. Halberstam's awesome.
Yeah, it starts with the Super Bowl in the headset of Charlie Weiss in the Super Bowl when they're playing the Eagles. It's a very good open to a book, and it goes through everything of his life, how he got to the Patriots, how he got to the Giants, the whole thing. It's very, very good. The other thing is watch the thing with him and Saban from HBO. It's really, really, really good. Also goes through their backgrounds, like him. The thing about Belichick is you have to ask him about kind of mundane shit. Like ask him about the hole punch back in the day before film. You had a hole punch to put your cards and your play sets in. And he did this whole 20-minute riff on the HBO special about the hole punch and how difficult it was. He did a whole thing, I think, in the same thing with Brady, talking about Ed Reed and how much he loved Ed Reed. And those are 2 things for sure you should go back and watch and read to get a little insight into him. I'm not pretending to be an expert on him. I'm just saying. The other thing is, it would be worth calling Tom O'Brien. When they were in Boston at the same time, they were like, as much as Tom is friends with somebody, they were like professional colleagues because of Tom's background at Navy. I believe Tom played for his dad at Navy. It would be worth, especially Tom, give him a call. And it could be an easy kind of one-off for you to write about. And he would give you some insight too.
That's a great idea. I hadn't connected those dots. That's a great idea. You're filling my head with all kinds of great ideas.
You know what?
Honorary member of information or idea man for Tar Heel Illustrated.
But the thing is, and Andrew, you've been around long enough, the same I have. It's the fucking challenge, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna sit here and tell me, oh, I don't get any access. Okay. I'm gonna read the book, I'm gonna watch a movie, I'm gonna go back and watch all your games. I'm gonna watch these, I'm gonna watch about the chef.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna watch your bullshit social media posts to see what you included and what you didn't, because there's information in there. Guess what? I'm gonna go back. And when you're not going to run your mouth, but you know who will? McAfee. So now all of a sudden, after one game, you're going to get, oh yeah, I was talking to Michael. I was talking to Coach. And then some little diarrhea of the mouth is going to happen. And you're going to be like, aha, like Chris Fowler the one time talking about, I talked to Dave Doran before the game. And it's, oh really?
Oh, did you know? Did you know?
But that's the challenge. That's the challenge, man. And Tom was one of the first ones for me who really respected the fact, like, okay, now you know what you're talking about when you go back and look at some of these things. Yeah. I got him on the thing I got Tom on was the way Russell Wilson played against ECU in Greenville that year. It was 9. Yeah, no 10.
I thought it was 9.
It was 10.
Okay,
it's 10. And that was a long story there, but that was one where I got him.
I believe in the industry, at least the magazine profile, that's called the write around. The subject is not going to talk to you.
Yes,
but you can find ways to write about the subject.
Yep,
a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I'd been tinkering with some ideas about looking up players I covered that played for him.
Yeah,
players I covered, primarily State and Carolina. I didn't cover Jacoby. I was off the State beat by then, but there's a healthy handful of guys I'm sure I could talk to just kind of give me some insight. You gotta, like I said, it's a castle. You can't get to the giant alligator-filled moat around the castle, and it's impossible to get to.
Look, I also have one other. Since we're doling out assignments,
I got a notepad right here, man.
No, we're doling out work. No, we're doling out work today. We're not being a dick. We're getting Andrew content, baby. It's not like we write. So. Here's my.
I'm going to get an honorary degree in the OG, right?
We'll send you a hat.
Of figuring out football.
We will send you some hats. We're going to send you some OG Media hats.
There you go.
So
I could put it right there in between my Oriole hats.
That would be great.
That would be good.
That'd be good. So I noticed on the birthday post from Jordan Hudson, because Bill Belichick turned 73 yesterday. So Andrew's already laughing, and she refers to Bill as her twin flame.
Oh.
y'all, that's some astrology stuff. Okay. Which I'm not saying yay, nay, anything, but I bet you that she says, you should probably download the CoStar app. I bet you she's got Bill looking at that CoStar app, an astrology app with some thought starters about do's and don'ts. I mean, I have CoStar on my phone. I bet you Bill wakes up and he goes, this is what my CoStar says right now. Everyone around you is also trying to figure out how to live in this world. That's deep. And I bet you he's doing that. And it's got do's and don'ts. Like today it tells me don't do goodbyes, secondhand stores, or deep sea diving. Don't do the clown suit headlines or glass houses. Bet you those are some thought starters.
My head's spinning, man. My head's spinning. But hey, I'll leave you guys with this. Interesting topic.
Baby. Here we go.
Topic in the press box Saturday, long after practice had ended and it was dark and everything else. We're talking about the Jordan Brand school, right?
Yeah, no, we got a new Jordan brand.
There's a new Jordan brand. So what would the logo be? The logo would be him on the beach with his legs up in the air and her lying on top of him. Yeah. That's the new Jordan brand logo for North Carolina football. Everyone was having fun with that. So I guess I can go that far. I got to be careful about some of the things I say, man. I have to be over there.
It's fine.
But it's all in fun. But you know what? If you don't want people to joke about it, don't put it out there.
And that's how the generation lives. They put everything out there.
Fair game.
Andrew Jones, Charlie Illustrated, great work as always. We went way long, but it's a good conversation. So we will talk to you later, man.
Appreciate the homework assignments. I'll jump on it after the portal crap ends.
Yeah, you got real work to do.
You got
by the way, I will close by this. The guy who decided the portal was a good idea needs to be nuked.
Well,
from a media standpoint, it sucks. It's just it's crazy.
It never ends. All right,
man.
For
the kids, don't like it for us, and it's all about me, right?
That's right. Good point. Good point. All right, man. Take it easy.
See you guys.
I mean, we're not going to do the work. We'll give work to somebody else. Mosquito Authority. They're going to do work for you in your backyard and your front yard and making sure the inside of your house is taken care of as well. Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority, bugsbite.com is the website. You can bundle and save. And Joe, it's April still. We have about another week and a half or so of April left, 2 weeks of April left, which means you can still get that April deal.
$29 for your first mosquito control service. Hit them up at bugsbite.com.
Every time we talk about ACC Matters, it is brought to you by our friends at Keller Williams Commercial. Check them out online, trianglenccommercial.com, 919-616-8681. The Donnelly team is going to help you out with a very specific real estate need, commercial real estate, warehouse space, retail space. You're looking for that dope spot in the downtown. They can help. They're going to help you out with that. So again, it all starts with a visit to their website, trianglenccommercial.com. Now, speaking of real estate, you're looking for a home, or maybe you got to sell your home. Don't take a guaranteed cash offer. You're leaving money on the table. Contact our friends at Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. You can buy and sell with confidence. And if you're buying that house, you need to finance it, right? Well, Miller Lending is going to do that for you with no closing costs. This is very, very important. The folks at Miller Lending are going to help you get the rate that's available to you, and then also explain to you and walk you through your options going forward. The thing about getting these lower interest rates is it comes with a price. Nothing's free, okay? So if you somehow get a lower interest rate, they're going to probably roll it into the cost of your loan, and it takes about 8 years to break even on buying down a lower rate. Typically, people will refinance about every 4 years. See where the math ain't mathing on that one? And situations change. It might not just be about rates going up and down. It could be about debt and debt consolidation, getting out of those high credit card interest rates. You can consolidate debt with a refinance with the biggest thing that you have in terms of assets, your house. So contact Miller Lending. Go to millerlending.com/theog or call them directly at 919-447-3377. Tell them we sent you.
You want to go on the buddy cop trip, me and Gordon, to Danville next week?
No, I want you to experience unadulterated, just pure Gordon on your own. I've done that plenty of times. Used to do a show with Gordon back in the day. So I'll let you hang out with Gordon. I don't want to buffer that. I want you just direct contact.
Have my own time.
Yeah, man. Have your own experience, man. Just have your own experience. That's what it's all about. Actually, you know what? Let's do a quick lightning round, shall we? Lee Corso is retiring. We're going to get one more game day with Lee Corso. It'll be the first weekend of the season. And then after that, he is calling it a career. He's had a variety of health issues. He's been on and off that set the last couple of years. You can kind of see that they're handing the baton over to Pat McAfee if they haven't already. And we'll get to Pat McAfee here in a second. But yeah, Lee Corso is calling it a day. And look, for a lot of folks our age, our generation, Lee Corso is a key part of our core sports memories, a key part of why we fell in love with college football on game day back in its early fun form. And yeah, like the mascot heads and the not so fast, my friend, and everything else. He's part of that. And like Dick Vitale, you know, it's good to see him on TV because it's like a proof of life type situation. But you also understand that they are not at the point of their lives and health that they can keep doing this. So at least he gets one more fitting tribute on his way out. The tributes have been coming in as he's calling it a career, but yeah, it's official. Lee Corso will be calling it a career at ESPN with College Game Day. I saw the tweet out there earlier, like, you know, Lee Corso being the court jester of game day, transitioning over to Pat McAfee explains a lot of where we are in society right now. I see what people are saying with that, but tastes change. What the youths are into changes. McAfee is the right guy for the moment right now with college athletics or sports in general, just as Lee Corso was the right guy at that time promoting college football when he was coming up doing his thing. My dad never liked Corso, though. Florida State guy.
Oh, I was like, why?
Never liked Corso.
Okay.
Because of the Florida State thing, man.
That's fair.
Always about the Florida State thing.
We've got a lot to get to. It's a lightning round.
Now, speaking of College Game Day, Kirk Herbstreit's still on there, and he was on with McAfee, and this is from Awful Announcing. Kirk Herbstreit says, no one's willing to criticize players. Nobody's got the stones. Okay. Dimitri's theory is that Herbstreit's appearances on McAfee are simply to impress McAfee. Like he really wants to be liked by McAfee, so he says really edgy things with no real meaning behind it. And the one thing that I thought was interesting from the back and forth, I have to see where it is in the Awful Announcing piece that they aggregated. He was talking about the NFL versus college. And he says, in college football, we don't have that. You get the agents, you get some of these, I guess, sometimes dads who are playing agent, who are playing a very dangerous game with head coaches and universities, and they try to use leverage. And they think they can get something that they actually can. So I applaud Josh Heupel for standing up, and not because players don't deserve to be paid, but because of how this unfolded and the timing of it. The one thing I continue to think about is that if the NFL has an issue, Roger Goodell, the owners, the NFLPA, there's a CBA, they work things out, right? They create the CBA. There are grounds for understanding what the rules and regulations are. Who is that in college football? You tell me. The conference commissioners? Is it the presidents? I know everyone wants to blame the NCAA. They have zero power. They have no power over the sport. Who's running the sport? Who are we supposed to file these complaints to? Who's supposed to make the changes? I have no idea who that is. We can sit here and be upset. We can sit here and say everybody says guardrails. Who the hell is going to create the guardrails and who will police them? So here's the thing. And he talked about the players and criticizing, and you get an avalanche of your anti-player. I would suggest to Kirk Herbstreit two things. One is to log off. He has got Twitter brain. He needs to log off, because when I now see national folks talk about, well, I'm just getting pounded. No, you're not. You're not getting pounded. Everybody complains about everything on the internet. If you actually have conversations with people, you'll find that, hey, you can come to some sort of understanding. Or I can see your point. You might see my point. We might not agree, and then we can move on with our lives. If you're getting all of your reaction online, well, you're going to get a very negative sentiment every single time. So I would suggest to Kirk, buddy, just log off for like a hot minute when you're talking about college athletics. But I don't know if Herbstreit is being self-reflective in why we don't have any of these things. Because let's think about it. Anytime there has been conversations about change, the old guard is very reluctant to do these things. like dragged kicking and screaming to get to the point where somebody like Kirk Herbstreit would say, hey, I'm okay with players getting what they want. You didn't used to be. So we find ourselves in this situation because it wasn't just the commissioners or the presidents not taking leadership, but people in prominent positions on media also had to take some leadership and advocate for these changes. Because one thing you and I both know is that these administrators listen to what the pundits say. So when you've got Kirk on TV saying, man, what happened to the good old days? You know, kids just don't want to work anymore. That's a complaint about College Game Day these days. Is that who is the audience? Are they speaking to the college kids? Are they speaking to a younger audience? Or are they speaking to the old people who just want to yell at the cloud? And oftentimes, Herbstreit's attitude towards modern player development has been negative. And you don't think the administrators listen to that? They don't watch Game Day and go, hey, man, Herbie's with us, that kind of stuff. So you got to think about your own culpability and why we are where we are with some of this stuff. And I don't know if going on McAfee is necessarily the way to go about it and just be an old man yelling at the cloud.
Yeah, he's an interesting creature because I felt like the NFL thing would help him kind of get out of the day-to-day stuff. I know he had a move out of Columbus, so he's kind of scarred by that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's performative. I think you have that right. He's trying to be cool for McAfee because he knows McAfee's, the straw that stirs the drink over at ESPN.
He is.
He is. I think Kirk does a really good job, but what are we really talking about? Like, I think he does a great job during games.
During games.
You know what I mean? Like,
During games. But Kirk, the opinion haver?
Yeah, but I mean, people can say the same thing about us.
We have great opinions.
Just on a lower level.
No, we have great opinions. Thank you.
Topics stack it up. Giglio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
All right. Speaking of McAfee, he talked to Aaron Rodgers today. And this is being aggregated by Ian Rappaport. And on the McAfee show, free agent quarterback Aaron Rodgers says, I'll set it all straight from the jump. I'm in a very different phase in my life. I'm 41 years old. I'm in a serious relationship. I have personal commitments I've made and people in my inner circle battling difficult stuff. To make a commitment to a team is a big thing, end quote. He also said he'd be willing to play for as little as $10 million. Quote, I'm open to anything and attached to nothing. Retirement could still be a possibility. Focus on personal life. I'm open to anything and attached to nothing.
He practiced that for sure.
He's looked in the mirror several times and worked that thing out.
He practiced that one.
I wouldn't be surprised. Can we ask our guy David McKenzie to see if that's been filed? Like, is that going to be slogan on a T-shirt with Pat Mac? With maybe that's the name of his podcast when he retires. When he goes the Joe Rogan route. I'm open to anything and attached to nothing. The podcast.
And yet the next sentence, I'm in a serious relationship.
But I'm in a serious relationship. Oh. Do you think the girlfriend really is like, wait, you said you're open to anything and attached to nothing. So you're not attached to me? Oh. I mean, clearly Aaron Rodgers' family knows about that. Attached to nothing. Not even you. Ooh. My own blood, as they didn't necessarily get along. Here's what I will say.
Poor Rodgers. Oof.
I'm gonna cut through the BS when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Nobody wants him.
Why would they?
At this point, nobody wants him. And he can say that. I know part of the conversation with McAfee was about the Jets, and he's still arguing about the end of the Jets and how he was treated. He talked about lack of respect with the new staff that was coming in and things like that. If that's your attitude, you could have just easily walked away. I mean, this is where the easy wins for Aaron Rodgers just aren't there. If Aaron Rodgers left the Jets and just went, hey, man, it's the Jets. Y'all see what I've seen? The Jets have been not even I could fix the Jets.
Yeah, that's the play.
That's the play. Like, man, the Jets are the Jets, man. Can't save them. They don't want to be saved. So what you do there is like, hey, man, you put me in a good organization. I'll play the game, which is what the Steelers were supposed to be. But I guess he wasn't feeling the love from the Steelers. He didn't show up to the big night out with McAfee last week. It seems to be that nobody wants him. And that's why we are where we are with Rodgers. And he's going to retire, and he's going to have the most unhinged podcast possible. It'll be fantastic on ayahuasca.
There are many topics for lightning rounds today on OG.
Have you had a chicken wing, Joe?
A chicken wing?
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Is there anything in your diet or lack of diet, I should say, that would surprise people? Like I've never had ...
Most people assume that I like olives because I'm Italian, but I do not like olives.
But you've tried olives.
I have.
Okay.
I have.
Jim Palmer on the Orioles broadcast admitted that he's never had a chicken wing before.
You know, I never had a wing. Ever.
What do you mean you've never had a wing?
Never, ever had a wing.
You've never had. Wait a minute.
No, I'm just never have.
You've never had a chicken wing?
No.
Like,
Why would I?
why would you?
Don't they have skin and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of things have skin.
But I don't eat skin.
Apples have skin.
Why eat apples?
You've never had a single chicken wing?
No, never thought about having it.
That is staggering to me. So what kind of chicken do you eat?
White breast.
What about like
Fried
eat
chicken?
You'll eat fried chicken?
Never had fried chicken.
Never?
Well, I've taken the crust off and
What is this? What is this? You've taken the crust off?
yeah. Well, what?
So you're losing the frying part of the fried chicken.
Well, that's why.
Chicken tenders? You had to have
No.
had chicken tenders.
Yeah, I have.
All right.
But that's not a chicken wing.
No, I'm. Have you ever turned down the opportunity to have chicken wing?
No, I just choose not even to think of ever having one.
I really want him to go on the Adam Gold show now. That is the most Adam Gold take possible.
Adam has the worst food takes.
80-year-old Jim Palmer.
It's never had a chicken wing.
The risk of being ageist. The Orioles can't find someone else in the booth.
Of all the things that have happened, because baseball's been hot for these types of clips.
Mm-hmm.
Like you saw the guy who was getting a number from somebody in the stands. It was the Braves, like FanDuel Sports Network Braves sideline guy. I don't have the clip in front of me, but I guess they were up in Toronto. And I think it was the Braves broadcast. If it's not, apologies. It's just that there was a baseball broadcast booth that the guy who's out, the man on the street was talking to some fans, and they encouraged him to get a number from one of the female fans. And this caused huge controversy online because, well, this is very unprofessional. And if you actually watch the entire segment unfold, it was all kind of funny in the grand scheme of things. And then the same reporter ended up on like a giant wiener seesaw.
I'm sorry?
It was a giant wiener seesaw. Yeah. Made for good visuals. Hey, man, you got to do what you got to do to break through in this day and age when it comes to media. If you knew we would get monster views on Instagram, would you get on a wiener seesaw with me?
Can you explain what a wiener seesaw is first?
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find this guy. Let me go to my favorite aggregation website, Awful Announcing, shall we?
By the way,
we got
James. Good call.
What's
That's
this?
a man who loves raisins in his potato salad. And thinks water is
he thinks salt and pepper is too spicy.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
Let's see. Awful Announcing. What do we got here? Scroll. Mike Tirico earning praise for his Today Show guest appearances.
Wait, you didn't just want a raw dog wiener seesaw into your Googles?
You know what? Why not? Hold on a second. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Let me see what happens when. Let me just go.
Is it a double-sided?
We're just gonna, let's just raw dog this into the search. All right, you can see what I search for. I search for hockey insiders and Joe Giglio because he claims that I never see his stuff.
You need to search for
I
me
do.
because you know
Wiener dogs. No, wiener seesaw. What do we got here? Wiener seesaw. Latest.
Yeah, buddy. You're on the edge.
Yeah,
there we go.
There
All
it is.
right.
There it is. There it is. This one's for yeah. Snyder's. Yeah, this is up. I guess this is up in Toronto.
Do I have to wear the outfit too?
Yeah, why not?
Wow.
So you want to get on the wiener seesaw with me or not?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Thank you, though.
I figured I'd ask. It's all about
Well, it's
consent.
motion sickness
And your neck.
and my neck. I mean, yeah. I mean, those are bad things for me.
Yeah. Look, you know me, man. It's all about consent. You don't want to get on the wiener seesaw with me? I'm going to respect that. I'm going to respect that. Big thanks to our friends at Happy and Hale. No wieners at Happy and Hale.
No, amazing food though, and bowls. Go check them out downtown. Smoky Hollow. They have a pickleball court there. They have a dog park. The dog park was hopping today.
Oh, was it?
Hopping.
It was gorgeous today.
Perfect. I got the Med Bowl the other day with you.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Mexi Bowl today.
What did you think of the Mexi Bowl?
I liked it, but
they got the salad with the rice in this one.
They had an upgraded permit, so it was warm today. They were allowed to have their warmers out there. So it's a little bit different than the one you had on Monday. Was it Monday?
Yeah, it was Monday. It was Monday.
Go hit them up though. It's $10, dude. You can't go to McDonald's anymore for $10.
No, absolutely not.
It's $10 for a really good lunch,
and you're not going to feel terrible after.
And you're not going to feel terrible.
So go to Happy.
Double bonus.
Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
Big thanks to our guy Matt Davis, State Farm. You can save money when you just have the conversation. See what your insurance rates are right now. See what Matt Davis can do for you. You got nothing to lose. So contact them today at 919-779-8277, insuregarner.com. And of course, our friends at Roback, go to the Roback website, RHOBACK.com. Get a quarter zip that rubs up against the mic every show, like Joe Giglio. Yep. Use the promo code OG20. I have to get like a Roback quarter zip. Talk to Ben. Talk to Ben to see if he wants to send us money to get a microphone that can handle a quarter zip.
Just wait.
Yeah. Well, I got it. I know where you're going with this. I'm going to pull it up. So go to roback.com and get on the email list because they're always dropping new hotness, including the brand spanking new City of Oaks.
How did you?
Oh, because I get the email.
Oh, he texted me.
Well, you thought you were getting insider information?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
They emailed.
You have to zoom in and show people this one because it is phenomenal.
So on the City of Oaks, you got the Glenwood Ave, you got the Capitol Dome. You look at that; they got a Cardinal,
Dorton Arena. That's an outline of the belt line.
That's the belt line. You got a hockey player on here. You got a
Wade Avenue.
Acorns,
I think that's a new addition.
Pigs,
The
Wade
Dome.
Avenue, beer. I mean, they got everything. It is so well done.
Look at those flags. I wonder what those could mean.
Interesting. And of course, the classic NC flag on the back of the polo.
I think it'll be here next week. So
I'll
be rocking it.
Go to roback.com and use that promo code OG20 if you haven't yet. Or if you've already used that promo code and you really want the City of Oaks, do what Giglio does and use the company email to create a new account and use OG20 to save 20% off. It's like, why is the official work email getting all these Roback mailings now?
Weird.
Oh, now I know why.
I can't wait until I create my third one where it's just like Giglio goes to roback@gmail.com.
Giglio Roback Burner 1. Giglio Roback Burner 2. From Kyle on the YouTube, they took my money this morning for the City of Oaks polo. They own me at this point. From Ken, as I like to say, there's something on the internet for everyone. Just like there are probably people who would like to see you and me on the wiener seesaw. Just saying. Definitely think that's the thing. Victoria texted me. She said it was the Braves, and that guy was super cringy. Ovies.
Oh, the announcer guy?
The announcer guy. He said it was super cringy. I'm like, I'm not saying that. Here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
In the context of the broadcast, was it cringy? Sure it was. But I would put more on the play-by-play guys than I would the sideline guy. Because the play-by-play guys were encouraging him to do it.
Oh, I see.
It's not like he was just like caught on a hot mic saying, hey girl, what's your number? It was the play-by-play guys saying, hey man, get their number. And he's like, what are you going to do? At that point, you just play along with the bit. And apparently it worked
for the show.
Sometimes you just got to do it for the content, man. Do it for the content. Let's see. Let me go back to the YouTube comments. What do we got here? Let's see. From Andy. The guy was cheap. I think we played this one earlier. For the Patriots doing the same thing in college. Shocker. Talking about Bill Belichick. Let's see. From Kelly up in Wisconsin. Chapel Bill is used to dudes wanting to win and still getting paid in the NFL. College football, they want the money now. Winning is not that important. You got 4 to 5 years to get all you can in college football. Yes, that is definitely an angle that he might not have thought about. From Andrew, Oh, wow. R.I.P. Gary, the pit preacher. He was on the Brickyard when I was there. Only time in my life I got told I was whoring my way to hell. As a guy, people gave me high fives for that one. What else? I think there was another Gary one in here. Here we go, from Lance. A little behind, but I was a student. I saw a student open hand smack the absolute soul out of Gary the pit preacher in Chapel Hill circa 09-10. I don't think that's the first and only time he's been smacked. Just call it a hunch. Let's see. Let's go to the OG sports phone, shall we?
919-444-2211. Call the OG sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go to a 540.
Hey guys, it's Ben from Bull City Coordinators. Checking in with a question about the giveaway involving the Caleb Love, Mark Williams poster and the Tar Heel for Life narrative and commentary that goes with him. And I have a question for you guys about how that plays out. All right, if he's a Tar Heel for life, using that logic and extending that out, does Duke get to say that in the 2024-2025 basketball season that the Blue Devils beat the Tar Heels 6 times? Follow me on this. 3 times head-to-head, twice when Duke beat Arizona, and then again when member of the Brotherhood, Jalen Blakes, beat Carolina at home with Stanford. Is that how the rule works? Is that how it plays out? Did Duke get a double triple crown this year? Let me know. Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work as always.
That's a good loophole. I like that, especially the Blake's part.
I do like the level of the levels of thinking that went into that one. I do enjoy that. All right, let's go to 1919.
What's up, OG? It's the NC State moderator. Giglio, I'm calling for you, but I need regular Joe Giglio to sit down for this conversation, and I need 6-shot fireball Joey Giggs to listen right now. So Joey, Mr. Giggs, bullshit, you're not going to love Copeland. I know you don't like him right now, same way that I didn't like him when I was going, who the frick is this little Syracuse kid coming in here and talking all this smack. We could not have gotten a player that epitomizes our fan base's attitude more than Copeland. Has zero right to talk smack, but continues to do it no matter what. He is going to be a thorn in the side of local ACC teams. He's going to tick off their fan base, and you are going to eventually fall in love with him. I feel like he's a guy who is a love to play with him, hate to play against him kind of guy. And I think Joey Giggs will eventually learn to love this because it just epitomizes and puts our fan base's attitude into one person and can be expressed on the court. He will become a fan favorite. And it only has to do with the crap that he is going to spit during the game. It's going to be content. It's going to feel like validation if we're winning. And it's going to feel like a nice little jab if we're losing. That's all.
I couldn't remember the player that I compared him to the other day, and then I finally just looked it up. Glenn Rice Jr.
Yeah, okay.
There was just something so annoying about the way that Glenn Rice Jr. carried himself.
All right.
That I was like, God, this guy's insufferable. So I appreciate the moderator saying that they're talking shit and have no reason to talk shit. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
But no, man, he's like that. He's like Glenn Rice Jr. level. Just, why are you the way that you are? Why are you walking around like you're Kobe? Like, no.
I mean, I'm kind of with the moderator on this one. State fans are acting like the Final Four is next year already. That Carolina might as well shut their program down because Will Wade's here. So, I mean, it does kind of fall in line with it. All right, man, before we go, I'm disappointed in you.
Why?
Not one comment about my brewery t-shirt.
I am glad that you continued your tradition. I assume that is from Dayton.
It is.
Okay, good.
It's from downtown Dayton, Ohio. I left a Ovies and Giglio sticker in the tap room. Look, my thought is
That's good.
we might as well start planting the seeds of the podcast in Dayton, Ohio, when the University of Dayton is brought into the ACC in 2030. Right?
Soon. So soon.
There's a lot of ACC history in Dayton. There is. A lot of great basketball has been played there.
Yeah, there was once a soccer team here named the Raleigh Flyers. There's the Dayton Flyers.
Yeah. So there you go. Although Dayton really needs to step their game up. One of the band dads went to watch the Dayton Flyers baseball team. This is how broke they are.
Oh, no.
Story time.
Oh, I think I know where this is going, actually.
That baseball team is so broke that when he caught a foul ball, they had somebody sent over to him to retrieve the foul ball. That's how broke they are.
Duke does that too. They do a prize.
How is Duke? No, Duke should not be broke. I expected at a place like Dayton. That facility was no bigger than a high school baseball stadium.
Same with Duke.
But it's Duke.
I know. They turn it into a contest. You get a raffle ticket.
Oh, man.
And then you get a chance to win a prize. Actually, the prize was like a full Duke jersey. The kid won. The one of the days the kid won was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Duke has no excuse. Let the kid have a baseball. Dayton? Yeah, man, I get it. Still paying Archie out, right? No. Archie left.
Yeah,
I don't know how that all worked out.
I'll catch up on Dayton when they get here.
Sure. Hey, 2030 will be here before you know it.
Around the corner.
2030. ECU and Dayton in the ACC.
Woo.
I cannot wait. The rivalry. We'll see you all for a mailbag tomorrow.